Hello, welcome back to Making Money Manageable again with Alan Dembski and Juliana Jansen from Buffalo First Wealth Management. Today, our topic is, can technology improve your life financially? A lot of going back and forth with this, age and everything else that comes along with technologies. Some people really embrace it, some do not, which is fine. But we're going to talk about some of those today, and maybe it's time for people to embrace it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think sometimes just starting is the hardest part. But the first thing when clients come in and we're talking about the assets that they have, a lot of times we find that people have pretty substantial balances in traditional banks, which, and we love our traditional banks. I have accounts at traditional banks, but for large balances that you're going to hold for a long period of time, sometimes other online only options can be helpful in
Mhm.
terms of providing you better rates, better interest rates, because the online banks don't have the brick and mortar expense that a lot of our local banks do. So it's good to pick and choose the accounts that you have at your local bank and be judicious in terms of where you're putting your larger balances.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having an online bank versus a brick and mortar. At least you have options of both. For years, many people have used a few different banks locally in their towns if they have the option to do so. So it's not like it's a foreign concept. It's just one is on your computer and one is you got to drive to the front door.
Right, exactly.
But automation is really helping people too when it comes to online. People are more into bill pay. Companies want you to do bill pay. They want that automatic payment. They'll reduce your interest rate sometimes on certain things, loans, especially. They'll lower your interest rate if you have an automatic bill pay that comes directly out of your bank account each month. And also automatic investing. You can set up, an automatic monthly withdrawal from your account into an investment account, whether it's, if you're eligible for an IRA, Roth IRA, or a non-traditional brokerage account, you can still set that up so that it's coming out each month and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to get out your checkbook. And I don't even know what stamps cost these days, 70 cents. Save you a postage every month. And that 70 cents can go into your investment account.
It works particularly well if your cash flow is consistent. I know
Yep.
sometimes we hear from people that are gig workers or self-employed and their income is spiky. It's sometimes a little bit more difficult to manage the automatic bill pays and the automatic investments, particularly because you don't really know necessarily what's going to be coming in from month to month. But you can still do the automatic investing. You just have to kind of watch what your
Right.
cash flow is and what your investing amounts are.
It's how to put cash into your phone too. So you do
Yeah.
need a local bank if you do deal with cash as well.
Yeah. The other thing that is something to consider is whether or not it makes sense to continue to have paper statements. I mean, paper statements were sort of the mainstay for many, many years, and it starts to take over your house, the piles. And I know that myself, I've started moving away from paper statements in a lot of cases because I know I can log on and get the information, and it just makes it easier for me from a filing standpoint. The only thing you want to watch out for is if something should happen to you, you want to make sure that the people that are going to help you out, if you're not able to do it yourself, are able to log in and get access to those accounts.
For sure. And companies are starting to charge for paper statements now. Everything that's mailed to your house, they'll charge you $5 or whatever the company is going to charge. That adds up over time. It doesn't seem like a lot each month when they surcharge your statement, but over the course of a year and the course of a lifetime, that adds up pretty quickly. It costs them postage and printing and all that stuff. That's why they're charging people now rather than doing the old traditional email. The other thing is, like you mentioned, is having a safe place to save all that documents and emails and passwords. I mean, that scares a lot of people. Oh my God, I have so many passwords. I know myself, I got 4 pages, 3 columns of passwords. You have to have a good safe space or place to save those and make sure they're accessible not only for you, but if something happens to you, a loved one as well.
Yeah, and the other question is, do you leave it online? Do you leave it in writing? And then if you're not home,
Right.
you can't access. So it's definitely something to think about in terms of what makes the most sense with your life and when you're going to access it. But I think we're here. So we have to figure out what works best for our particular situation. And, I think in general, just start. I think for me, I think our firm, we're definitely cost conscious, we're mindful of it. So maybe start looking at the things that are going to bring extra money into your house or save you money, and start chipping away at moving online for those instances. So if you have a loan that is going to cost you less if you actually pay it automatically, that would be a great place to start in terms of making sure that the bill pay starts. And just start. There are a lot of people that are able to help in terms of getting started, because a lot of times that's the biggest hurdle, is just making your first move.
Right. And it is scary because you're always accustomed to doing it. You're built in that habit of going to the bank, taking care of your business and leaving. Now you can do it from the comfort of your own home. But again, it's not all or everything, and it's not everything that you own has to be done this way. I 100% agree. You got to start small and you got to start somewhere. But it is scary because of, we hear it all the time. Oh my God, I forgot my password. But, technology, again, is making that easy with face enabling or touch fingerprint ID of logging in, is making it a little bit easier and more secure, actually, when you have those rather than just a password saver.
Yeah, the two-factor authentication, where instead of just putting a password in, it actually requires you to be texted a code. We recommend that wherever possible, and wherever it's an option for me, even though it's a little bit of a pain because it's another step, it's definitely worth it from a protection standpoint, that if you have that option to add that additional layer of security, do it, because it's going to keep your account safer.
And one piece of advice, if you are transitioning into that technology world, once you do that, they're not going to call you. Most likely, they're not going to call you. You're either going to get an email, you'll get a message through your portal, but they generally won't reach out and call you. So, you got to be careful of phishing scams with phone calls when you're not active on your portal.
And text scams too.
Text scams. So watch our other video on scams. We did a whole hour-long video. But follow us for more. Make sure you like, follow, and share our content, and leave us a comment.